Hi and welcome to day 26 of Counting the Omer, Hood within Netzach. So this whole week we are exploring our masculine nature to move towards a goal, to share our gifts, to be out there in the world as we are, who we are, authentic and in alignment with our truth and our own divine presence. And this path is unique to everyone. I have my mission and my direction, and I'm working towards my goals. But it might be that it's completely different for you. And I truly believe that some people here on earth, they're not meant to work so hard or do so much. It's just more about them being them. You being you. And surrender into that knowing of who you are. It's so easy in this Netzach energy to get lost in the idea that we need to do something to be worthy. You can serve God and God's mission to change the human consciousness and to change the whole human experience from density and karma and trauma and wounds and pain and suffering into this state of paradise and unconditional love. You can serve God by just being you. Yesterday I set my intention when I was writing in the morning before the counting that I would bring this intention of making people feel loved when I talked with people yesterday. And my experience was suddenly that some of those people I were talking with, they really opened themselves and spoke with me about really intimate and personal things. And these are not my friends. These are more parents of my children's friends and things like that. So normally we don't have these deep conversations and open conversations. So I couldn't help myself but to wonder that I had this intention before going out there into the world, that I ended up in those conversations because these people really needed to feel like someone saw them and listened to them and felt them. And also could ask some questions and make them reflect a little bit and see things from another perspective. So hopefully that was a little victory for me, that at least two of those people I spoke with yesterday felt that they were loved and they felt that they were accepted as they are. So in this hood within Netzach, hood means glory or splendor. But when God shines its light on this diamond, it has many different aspects. And one of them is humbleness, and the other is this ability to surrender, because there's a greater plan behind everything. There's always this unknown aspect. And sometimes things that seems very hard, there's an obstacle, can be exactly what you needed to have that new insight or see something from a different perspective and then grow out of it. And when we become humble in our masculine drive, you become a true leader. There's nothing more attractive to me than a man who's on his mission, he's in this energy of serving people, serving God, and at the same time, he embodies this ability to be greatly humble in his presence. Just look at those leaders in the world who embody this. For me, it's Dalai Lama and, those great spiritual teachers who embody the humbleness. For me, they are those I admire the most. I see this enormous glory in that. So today I'm inviting you to look at yourself with humbleness, with openness, and see where you can bring this aspect into your mission or to that direction. Because there's always a direction. There will always be a desire, even though maybe you are not here on this great mission, but you are here just because you are love. Can you be humble towards yourself and the splendor of who you are? That there is this bright light within you, this enormous beauty. And you are a creator, you are created in the image of God. So there's a lot of patterns going on in your life. There's a lot of structure and masculine energy which is needed, and which, when it's purified, it can have such a strong influence on people into the world. Just because all these layers that's there between you and your soul have been peeled off. And the more we peel off this personality and those layers, the more life will happen by itself. It will be very clear when you need to move towards something, or when the best thing is to just be still, be you. When we are intuitive, when we have this inner knowing, it can be quite easy to tap into the future and having this inner knowing that I'm moving in this direction. But the thing is, we don't know when it will happen or how. And we try to figure out how to move towards it. A couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I downloaded so much information and direction in my life. But when I'm looking back, I see that because of that knowing, in a way, that I so went into this pushing energy, this forcing energy. And then I met an obstacle, or it was obvious that I needed to learn more before moving forward. All I could do was to surrender to that. Because I was so on this awakening journey that it just felt like life itself wouldn't let me go into any new trap. It just arranged this giant obstacle, and then I couldn't move forward. I was trying to put up retreats and nothing happened. It was so strange, because before that giant awakening, my second awakening in a way, when I had that, it was like my life just stopped. And it felt like I was supposed to be in total isolation and alone for a long time, and to go so deeply within, so nothing was left unseen. And until I had done that, I was stopped by life itself. And all I could do was to surrender. I have a dear friend right now who struggles so much because life is showing her that she's on the wrong path. She's not fully tapping into her full potential, and she's not listening to those small signs which has become giant signs. And now she feels like her only opportunity is to kill herself. Either she changes her life completely, or she kills herself. And that first option, to change, that feels more difficult to her right now than to end her life. So we can listen and be humble to what our soul and life and God is showing us from a very early stage. Or we can just lock the ears and keep on moving, but then life will hit you hard in the end. That's why I find having a spiritual practice that makes me sit in stillness and to go within every day, I find it so important, because it's so easy to just override those small drops of inspiration or guidance coming from above or within. One should walk on this earth with humbleness, my dear lover said, and I admire him so much for that wisdom. And I think that was maybe one of those reasons I fell in love with him, because he vibrates that humbleness. Another thing I wanted to share with you is something else I'm sitting with the masculine and the feminine polarity, and how they attract either from their divine power or from their lack. So in a conversation yesterday, a friend of mine, he shared with me how he went to this conference, and they were working in like leadership, and he experienced that he came a little bit late into the meeting one morning, and there was a person he had made some judgments towards. he saw her as narrow-minded and not so interesting to talk with. And of course, he ended up working with her. And he explained that she was just talking and talking and talking, and she gave him no space to talk. So it was meant to be a sharing, but she took up all the space. I looked at this from the perspective of magnetism and minus and plus and polarity. And I know him very well, so I know some of his patterns and this feeling he can have that first of all, he makes that judgment, so he has this resentment towards her. He doesn't want her to come close to him. So without having said a word, just his energy makes her feel insecure. So when they are put together because of her insecurities, which of course gets amplified because of his resentment towards her, she just becomes more of what he doesn't want. Can you see that picture? He doesn't want one thing and he gets exactly what he doesn't want to have because he's vibrating that resentment and those judgments. So that's the minus feminine in a way. That's our inner judgments, inner resentment towards someone or something. That's the energy when we are trying to heal from an addiction or whatever we are trying to work with, and we overthinking about it or putting too much energy, and the only thing we can think of is that thing that we shouldn't eat or drink or smoke or whatever. And we end up just having more of it because we give it so much attention and so much energy. So today we are in the polarity. We are in the masculine and the feminine polarity of Netzach and Hud. So we are in the right hip and the left hip. And when the right hip moves forwards and the left hip have this resentment towards it, or it doesn't want to move, it becomes like an inner war almost. But when these two energies are balanced, when there is a knowing, an inner knowing which comes from within the heart, within the center of the body or the tree of life, when the truth is there, when you can tap into the truth and the center point, there will be a very easy way to move forward, and it will become very easy to stop and just wait until the road is cleared for you again to move forward. And there will not be this inner conflict and inner war. So if my friend went into that meeting with complete openness, no judgments, no fear, just in this loving presence, probably he would have been coupled up with another person. He would have a really interesting conversation. And his experience would have been completely different. Or maybe if he didn't have so much judgments towards this woman, maybe he would end up in a conversation with her, and just because he was there in its center without any judgments or this pulling back or away from her, she would feel safe and she would listen more to him, she would be more peaceful. and his experience would have been different. So this is how we continuously are creating our own experience from these unknown patterns and judgments, and pulling back from people or situations and ending up having more of what we don't want to have. So when we come into the heart, when we come into the Tiferet and the center within and into the truth of the situation, maybe the truth is that this woman, she can be very insecure around people who judge her. And maybe the truth is that he is very judgmental. But they can bring out the best of each other or the worst of each other. So when they both have purified themselves, when she have worked through her insecurities and he have worked through his judgments, they can meet in harmony. It's the same thing in love. If you have a person who is terrified of being rejected and another person who is terrified of committing and opening up his heart or her heart, this dynamic will be quite challenging. But if they both release their fears, they can meet in harmony and peace. And when one change, the whole dynamic change. So the more aware we become, the more we purify ourselves, the more we let go of judgments, of inner conflicts, of this overdrive, this trap of getting lost in the masculine doing or in the feminine collapse. The more we heal our nervous systems and the mind and the heart, we can just be in this center point, in a complete balanced state, in this union frequency or consciousness. And all our meetings and all our life experiences will be of harmony. I truly believe in that. It's possible. And you can just see that person for what it is. Oh, here's a person with insecurities. I am still in my center. I'm still holding that person in love. I can be in harmony even though that person is vibrating fear or guilt or anger or whatever. I don't need to judge that person. I can just see that person. But until we have really healed ourselves and brought ourselves into wholeness, we will continuously be challenged. And when you are on this awakening journey, there will be many obstacles and challenges like this, because they are mirrors to you. They show you where you still haven't healed, or you still haven't brought yourself into truth. And the more we are able to meet people with this openness and humbleness and see the whole picture, see the splendor and glory in the wholeness of who they are, we will bring out of them what they are not. And the same thing about ourselves and our mission. There is always this aspect of the unknown. We can never fully predict what will come in the future. We can have this inner knowing and this feeling that, I know something is true here. And I can see it in my mind how this will turn out in one way or another. But we can never know exactly what will happen on the way there. So walking with humbleness, walking with this trust within ourselves, that everything that comes for a reason. And when we learn to trust it, when we learn to see life like that and surrender to the unknown, our whole life experience change. It becomes easy, almost fun, because an obstacle can be turned into this, how can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? This is very interesting. I haven't seen this about myself before. Wow, I'm so grateful for that person and how he or she showed that to me. Because now that I have had that triggered in me, I can feel it and I can integrate it and I can release it. Wow, I'm so grateful for this mirror. Yeah, okay. Let's end with a prayer today. Dear God, Mother, Father God, thank you for the created world we are living in, this beautiful, amazing physical earth and her beauty. Thank you for all the wonders and structures and how everything is connected with each other. Thank you for all the mirrors you are sending to me so I can grow and purify myself. Thank you for showing me the way in the right direction for me. Thank you for guiding me home towards my heart center every day. Thank you for being within me. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for guiding me. Thank you for empowering me and helping me move from being a child to a mature spiritual person. May you enlighten me from within. May you show me the best way I can serve according to my gifts according to my mission, according to who I am, the I Am presence. Thank you for teaching me to surrender and trusting in you and the greater force behind everything. Thank you for creating me in the image of you. Thank you for being created. Amen.